Hello, we are back yet to another edition of our COP Chats. The COP Chats. The COP Chat refers to child online safety conversations here from the Uganda Communications Commission. Joe Kizito is my name. Once again, welcoming you to this discussion that affects our children, that affects our lives, that affects everybody around us as we get into with the digital world, adopting it, enlisting our children on it. So we're back for yet another round of conversation. If you recap very well, last time we were at Butavika Hospital. Butavika Hospital, a place that many people don't want to go, that even us who went there, we were a little jittery, but we went there. Why were we there? We have some of our children there, and they're not there for any other reason. It's because of excessive use of the phone, excessive use of the social media, excessive use of the internet, and this has affected their health, their brain, their behaviors, and everything. You follow the depth of our conversation last time with Dr. Byama, Deputy Executive Director of Butavika Hospital, and here we pick up this conversation once again. Interestingly, many of you out there as parents, and some of the kids, not so many, but the parents mainly and educationists, you picked up this conversation, you wanted to know more. I kept asking, where has UCC been to enlighten you more about this subject that affects the children that we love very well. Here we are once again. Now, I'll pick on one particular aspect that somebody asked me. Is it a Ugandan problem alone, or is this a global issue? What is the rest of the world doing? And I can tell you, I have somebody here to explain that to you. Well, who do I have here? I have a gentleman who is very good in the public spaces, very visible, very well known. A man who is very visible on X Spaces, on TikTok, press conferences, any stage that has the public. You see this gentleman, and he's a very expert communicationist. Now, at the Uganda Communications Commission, this gentleman works as the head of public relations. He also heads our international relations aspect, and that's where I want to enter from. Mr. Ibrahim Bbossa, good you to have on this conversation, the COP Chats here. We call it COP Chats. COP, not a policeman, but the online policemen have to something to do with safety, excellent. But our online safety aspect here.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
I bring he's also a father, and I think a grandfather to be. Right?
I don't know about that. Maybe.
All right. Well, before you even take us into the international stage, many people have different interpretation of the child online safety aspect. What would be your definition, your explanation in a lay language that a parent, a student, a teacher they would understand?
You know, the internet has brought a lot of opportunity and advantages to the world, and also more especially for the youth, and therefore also our children. It's being used for education purposes. People are using it for entrepreneurship. We have innovators who are being aided by the internet. We have creatives who have taken advantage of it. So it is something that has brought opportunity. But with it also comes risks and certain harms. And that is where a regulator like the Uganda Communications Commission, but a country as Uganda, and therefore the entire world, is very concerned. You will realize that many countries are responding to the harm and the risks brought by the internet in varying ways. Many of them, at least we know today, have taken the education and the capacity building arm to create awareness for young people, for parents, for minders, for regulators, and even other agencies of government on what they need to do to be able to empower and support the citizens in dealing with the harms and the risks of the internet. But we also have seen those that have taken more stringent measures. Just recently, I think the UK announced a limitation on the use of TikTok for, I think, children who are 16 years and below. I think it was being spread all over for the rest of the social medias. We have seen countries like Australia who have also come up in that direction. We have seen France that have pronounced themselves basically setting age limits on who can actually use social media, which is also the bigger part of the internet. We also have other governments and countries like Uganda who are taking a more proactive approach where we are engaging with relevant stakeholders within the space to make sure that, for example, platforms have appropriate safeguards, minders and parents can provide the necessary supervision, children, especially in school, coming up with school programs and school campaigns so that they are aware of the harm and the risks that come with the internet. So at the end of the day, it's not a Ugandan problem, it is a worldwide problem We are all dealing with it probably a little differently, if I may say, but depending, of course, every country as a sovereign may have different characteristics. And, Uganda has a very large youthful population, so restrictions may not be the in thing, but we are making progress on our end. So if somebody asked me really, the child online protection, what it is, this is basically an agenda driven by our government with players like the Uganda Communications Commission, the Ministry of Gender, the Ministry of Education, where we are providing some kind of space for youth, for children to be able to be online responsibly, but also empowering different actors within the government to help protect our young ones in terms of the risks and the harms. So that's why it is child online protection. So there is an element of empowerment, there is an element of providing a safe space, and there is an element of where we expect actors like regulators, like platform owners, like telecommunication companies and minders to be able to provide the relevant guidelines for people to be able to find this in a safe way. We're calling it child online protection, but the protection is not only for children. There are even mature people like my age, people born before computers that need protection. We know people who are wasting time, useful time, people who are being harassed, people who are being bullied over the internet, regardless of age. So the information, the empowerment, the education and guidance is good for everybody.
You raised something about what different countries have done globally. So I think for the comfort of the parent of the child and anybody listening out there, it's not a Ugandan thing, following the comments we received last time, but then you can just follow up our conversations after we're done. It's not a Ugandan's parent thing only. Every parent globally, it's a humanity issue, if I may put it that way. But you raised that, you're saying different countries have done certain things globally in Europe and a few of us in Africa here. Is everybody doing as they deem right, or is there like an international standard guidance somewhere that anybody dealing with these platforms, whether it is at a regulation, service provision or usage, is so that we have some kind of benchmark? If I achieve 10% of that, I'm doing that much, so that you don't do percent and you feel you're doing very well as a country. Maybe for our viewer.
Brilliant question. Internationally, the International Telecommunication Union seems to be taking the driving seat in driving the child online protection agenda. And they are providing guidance basically for children, guidance for parents and minders and educators. They are providing guidance to telecom operators, providing guidance to government, including we like regulators, on how best we can create safe spaces for our children and guard them against the harm that can be found on the internet. That guidance can be domesticated for various jurisdictions. But we have also seen the United Nations International Children's Fund, UNICEF, that has also come in to basically help governments and countries to come up with protection systems and rehabilitation programs and awareness programs, especially in schools, especially for children, to be able to make these frameworks in the different jurisdictions much stronger, more effective, and I think they're doing a very wonderful job. Different governments around the world are also taking initiatives, as we've said. Some have come up with stringent restrictions, many have come up with policies, regulations, and laws governing the use of the internet. Some countries are ahead of others are learning from others. So there is a lot going around in this space, but at least we have the forerunners at the front. At least we have seen the ITU, we have seen the UNICEF doing an amazing job where everybody now is able to plug in.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful story. Now, as we draw close to our little chat here, maybe your final call to whoever is of key interest to you, the messages you pick from international spaces that we want to see replicated in maybe some countries that have run ahead of us. Could be anybody at policy, could be a parent, could be a kid. A call to action by anybody of your choice out there, probably all of them. But at the end of it all, I would want you to finish with a statement. A safer internet starts with the new.
Thank you very much. Ideally, as if you're a parent, if you are an educationist, if you are a minder, we need to pick more interest in what happens on the internet and especially what our children are consuming. So children need guidance, they need to be supervised, you need to know what they're actually doing. And this should be part of everyday conversations, either at breakfast, at lunch, at dinner, even if you are out, basically reminding our children not everything that they see, everything that they consume or interact with online is good, is safe, is appropriate. So people need to consume information, especially the young ones, with a pinch of salt, with a cautionary approach. Let them report issues that they find suspicious. Let them inform, consult, and that is one way we can have our young people making use of content online in a measured and guided manner. But we should also know that we have people like the platform owners. We need more help. A country like Uganda, with half of the population almost youthful, but we have multiple languages, different levels of understanding. We need to have platform appropriate content for different jurisdictions, but also help with controls that can be used either by parents, by minders, by educationists, to be able to control the type of content our children are going to consume. We also have government, regulators. I think we need to step up a little on issues of awareness, education, but also enforcement, because many of the actions that are happening online actually break traditional laws. Okay, fraud is happening online, cyberbullying, sex trafficking is happening online. So countries already have laws that tackle these kind of problems, and we would expect that government agencies, regulators need to step up on aspects of enforcement. And lastly, there are many people who may be actually disoriented, who may be affected by what they see online. We need to have the right platforms to report, the right platforms also to rehabilitate those who need to be taken care of because of the negative experiences they have had online. That does not mean only children, but even adults could be disoriented. So I think there is a job to do for all of us. So my belief is that a safe internet begins with responsible users, especially children, but also empowered people, agencies of government, frameworks that can deal with the problems that come with the internet. Thank you very much.
All right, loud and clear. Ibra is very loud and clear. It is responsible use of the internet, responsible use of the devices, responsible use of social media. Not only to the child, like Ibra says, even you, the parent, as you guide, as you instruct, as you police your child, look out at what you're doing also, because a child will learn best by observing you, the parent, what you do. So don't guide alone and go back and hide you in the bedroom and continue with your doing. Be active. You also need your own degree of online safety. Otherwise, to the key message out there, if you encounter it, you don't like it. If you as a parent, you see a child is getting lost, encourage your child, and we're encouraging the child to stop it, block it, or report it. Look out for our next chat. Thank you.